Now we can say, is there any, okay, so let's take another example so that you can understand it better. So we have a list called teachers, and we have my name, and we have my girlfriend's name, and we have my best friend's name, and well, that's it. 3. Now I can say subjects. Oops. So we have subjects, as you know, we have subjects, and the subjects are programming. She teaches mathematics, and he teaches, let's say, electronics. Okay, so we want to print this thing. Okay, we want to say that Subhodeep teaches programming, and then Swarnali teaches mathematics, and then Pritam teaches electronics. So how can we do that? We can use a for loop. We can use two variables called teacher and subject. For zip, we combine two lists, teachers and subjects. We can print, oops, what happened? I'm sorry. Okay. For teacher, subject in zip, teacher, subject, and we can say print. We use f string and say teacher. We can only use these things. We can use teacher, we can use subject. We cannot use these names. Remember this. Okay. So we have teacher teaches sub. Okay. So we have Shubhadeep teaches programming, Swarnali teaches mathematics, and Pritam teaches electronics. So we have our result. So that's how zip works with lists. I hope now you have a good idea of how lists work. Now let's see at another, can say, okay, before that, let's have a look at slicing and indexing. Now let's say we have an array called numbers, and we have different numbers: 78, 32, 67. Okay, 78, no, 70. We have 34, we have 21, we have let's say 90, we have 56, we have 34, we have 34 is already present, so let's say we have 24, and we have, let's say, 65. Okay, so we have our list. So the length of the list is, so the length of the list is 9. So the maximum index possible is 8, because the maximum index possible in a list is 1 less than the length. Okay, so now if I say numbers and give a random element called 8, or you can say len of numbers minus 1, right? So I get 65, which is the last number, right? Because the total length, okay, minus 1 gives us the maximum index, and the maximum index contains the last element. But we can shorten this using this thing. Numbers, we give a square bracket and say minus 1. We get 65. And why did I do this? Because see, if I just say, we get 32. So can you see the difference? there is a minus here. There, it is a negative number, right? It is a negative number and this is a positive number. So just see what happens. Numbers 1 gives us this number 32 because 0 1. So this is at index 1. So thus we get 32. But when we say numbers minus 1, we get the last number. Okay, we get the last number. So if you want to display numbers from the last, you can say -1. This is at -1 index. This is at -2 index. This is at -3 index. This is at -4 index. This is at -5 index. This is at -6 index, and so on. Right. Now if I say numbers, we have -3. So what is -3? 56. Why? -1, -2, and finally -3. So we can go backwards. We are going backwards using this thing, right? So if I say numbers, I'll do -9, we get 78 because -9 is a length. So if it starts from 1, so it must go 9 up to, because if it starts from 0, it goes to 8, right? But if I start from 1, because from this side it starts from 1, so this is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, -9. So we get the element 78, and we can do the same thing numbers 0. We again get 78. So the syntax is like that. Okay, list name, this is the syntax. Okay, let's write it. This is a comment, this is not a code, remember this. Syntax, you can write it down. List name, the syntax of indexing is like that. Start, okay, let's write in all uppercase. Start index, stop index, jump. So this is the syntax. This is how you can do indexing. So do you remember the syntax of for loop? For, let's say you have a loop called for x in range. Do you remember this? If I say 1, 10 to 2, this means it will start from 1, it will go up to 9, because it always iterates 1 less than the given number. And this is the jump. It will jump between 2 spaces. So 1, then 3, then 5, then 7. It will go like that. So if I say print, I'm sorry, what happened? For x in range, okay, so I mistakenly used I just mistakenly used colon, but in for loops colon is not used. It will be commas. I just ignored that stuff. In range, you can say 1, 10, 2. So this means that from 1, start from 1, go up to 9, and take 2 steps in between. So this will happen. Print x. So you get 1, then 2 step jump. 3 plus 2, you get 5, plus 2, you get 7, plus 2, you get 9. But it won't go any further, because this is the stop index, this is the start index, and these are the jumps it will take. So similarly in the list also this happens, but the only difference is you use colons, not commas. and look at it, because this can sometimes create confusion. Okay, so the list name here is numbers. Okay, so this is our list, so we can say numbers. We can say, let's say we want to say, see these things from 70 to 90. So let's find out the index 0, 1, 2. So that means our start index is 2, and we want to continue till 90. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we give 6, because if we give 5, this won't be counted in. So we must give 6, because it is always 1 less than the given number, and then we take one step, or it is optional, you can just give this much. So you get 70, 34, 21, 90, right? From index 2 to index 6, that means from index 2 to index 6, but since 6 is given, it will only execute up till this. This won't be executed, it will be only executed up to this, just like a for loop. Okay, it is just like a for loop, remember this. I can say numbers, and I can say, okay, let's give 1 to 7. Let's give 1 to 7 and take 2 steps in between. See what happened. It started from index 1, which is 32, and it took 2 steps every time. So 32, then 2 steps. That means, okay, so it started from 32. It took 2 steps. That is, it will ignore this one and it will go to this. Because if I say this thing, if I say 1, it will count every number. So 32, then 70, then 34, then 21, then 90. But if I say 2, it will take 2 steps in between, right? So for every 2 step, we get this number, and then this number will be, just ignored, and then this number will be printed, because this plus 2, you will get this, because this is index 0, 1, this is index 1. So 1 plus 2, you get 3. So which number is at 3 index? This is at 3 index. Now again plus 2, so 3 plus 2 is 5. So which number is at 5 index? This number is. Okay, and then it won't execute, because it can only continue up to 7, right? So that means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, but if I, this is 5, and if I add 2 to it, so 5, so it will give me index 7, but I cannot go to this, because the loop ends here only, or the function or the slicing ends here only. I cannot go to this, because 7 is the last index, and last index cannot be accessed. Okay, whatever you give in the stop index, one less will be executed. So that means this will be ignored, and that means you can go up to this one, not this one. Remember that. So I can say 3, it will give me only 21, 32 and 20. Why so? Because 0, 1, so this is our start index, plus 3. So 1 plus 3 is 4. And which number is at 4th index? So this number is 21, right? But why no numbers are displayed after 21? Because if I add, 1 plus 3, I get 4. I get 4, right? Yeah, I get 4. Then if I add 3 to it, so I get 7, but I cannot go to here, right? I cannot go to here. So that's why it stops execution. I can only go up to here, I cannot go to here. I hope you get it. So now what if I take a reverse step? Sorry. Okay, gives me null. So let's say we have a stop index, we have a negative stop index. Okay, did you see what happened, guys? See the original values. Okay, so stop index is -1. So what is -1 here? This is -1, right? Yeah, so since the last element is -1, it will execute one less than the -1, which is -2. Or you can clearly see this is the last element, and we can indicate last element by using -1. But since this cannot execute up to element -1, it will execute one less than the given. So that means it will execute up to the second last element, not the last element. Now there is another way we can do slicing, is that we can just leave. Did you see I just left the starting? We can do this. So if I say I just leave the starting, let's say I want the first 5 or 6. Let's say I want to print up to this. So which index is this? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I give here 5 because you know the reason, right? If I give 4, this will execute, this won't. So as you can see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is always one less than the stop number. This is the stop number because the left hand side of this colon is start, the right hand side of this colon is stop. Remember this. Now if I say numbers, and now time for a magic. If I say this one, see what happened. The whole list has been reversed. Why so? Because no stop has been given, no start has been given, but in the step, I am saying that you have to take -1 steps. So what is -1 steps? That means this will go from reverse. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Just like if I just give 1, see what happened. So this will give me original array because it takes one step from left to right. But in case of this, it takes one step from right to left. This is the only difference. I can also say, see what happened. Okay, no, what I meant is -2. So it takes 78, 70, 21, 56 and 65. But what is the original array here? So as you can see, it takes -2 steps, right? So that means 65, then it will go to 56, then it will go to 21, then it will go to 70, then finally 78. So by now you guys know that start, stop or step is optional. So what happens when you just write numbers and you give no start, you give no stop, you also don't give any step? So what happens? You get the whole array, right? But what if you just give start? So you get from 70, that is the second index, that is 0, 1, 2, from 2 to all the way up to the end, because you haven't given any stop. There is no stop, as you can see. This is the reason it starts from index 2 and it goes to the very end of the list, right? But what happens when you give a start but you don't give a stop and you say -1 as a step? So it will take -1 jumps. So index 2 means 70, 0, 1, 2. This is 70, and from 70 take -1 step. So this is index 2. 2 minus 1 is 1, that means this one. This 1 minus 1 is 0, that means this. So this is why you get 70, 32 and 78. You get in reverse order because first this comes, then this comes, and finally this comes, right? So you get this in reverse. What else can you do? Let's see, let's check it out. What else can you do? Let's say you want all the elements from starting to the end, okay, to the end, okay, till 90, and you do not want these. What should you do? What do you think you should do? So these are pretty simple exams, so that you can understand, right? These are very simple examples. So I say from 0, or you can say just leave it as it is, and then you can say like, okay, and you mention the stop. So what is the stop here? You start from here, that is 0 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so you give 6 as a stop. So as you can see, you get all these elements, but you do not get these. But what if you want all the elements from here to here, but not these three? You don't want these, you just want this. What do you think you should do? You should say a number. Let's write this one out. Is -1. And where should you stop? You should stop at 0 1 2. Stop. Okay. Okay, so you get 65. I'm sorry, 65, then you get 24, then you get 56, then you get 90, then you get 21, then you get 34, and you do not get these. So you get all the elements from the last except these three. So I hope you got my total point. So this is how you can do slicing. You can try out your own patterns, and trust me, the more you practice, the more experience you will gain. So the basic syntax is like this: numbers and start, stop, step. Okay, so this is the basic syntax of slicing. Note it down if you want to, right? Because these are very important. So note this down. And all of them are optional. Okay, all of them are optional. Okay, I hope you guys get it. Now the final thing which I'm going to show you is list comprehensions. Now before showing list comprehensions, let's print out the multiplication tables. So let's say I want to print out, let's say I have a number called, let's say 4. I have a number 4, and I want to say 4 multiplied by 1 is 4, 4 multiplied by 2 is 8, 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. So I want to do this thing. So how can I do it? Obviously we will use a for loop. For x in range, we say start from 1 and go up to 10. Okay, 11, because it will always execute one less, and that's it. We start print. Oh my god. Print, say f, and I say 4 multiplied, okay, 4 multiplied by x, this is a variable, equals to, we say 4. This is the expression, this is not string. Remember, this is the mathematical expression, 4 into x, right? So you can see 4 1s are 4, 4 multiplied by 2 8, 4 3s are 12, 4 4s are 16, 4 5s gives us 20, and it prints all up to 4 into 10, right? So this is a mathematical expression. Remember this is a mathematical expression. These are just strings, okay? These are strings. This is again a variable. Whatever you see inside these curly brackets are expressions or variables, okay? So now what if you want to store all these values in a list? So one way of doing this is, you want to store all these values by simply saying multiples. So there is a list and you want to save it 4, 8, 12, 16, okay, like this. You want to store like these, okay. So first let's declare an empty list. So this is one way of doing it. For x in range, obviously I'll use the same thing, 1, 11, and I say, okay, multiples dot append x multiplied by 4 or 4 multiplied by x, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now we have our multiples. See, we have all of it, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. So we have it all, right? So this is one way, because I am actually appending the values, I am adding the values in the list, right? I'm adding it. So let me open the paint for you, okay? This way you can understand append function more better. Oh, sorry, append method in a better way. So let's open paint for that purpose. So we have a multiple, okay, we have a list multiple like this. This is the empty list, right? We can say empty list. This is a comment, right? Now I can say, let's run a for loop for x in range 1, 11. Why is it not working? Oh damn. Okay, so for x in range 1 to 11, multiple dot append x multiplied by 4, right? So that's our for loop. So understand what happens. So the loop starts here, right? Where is my brush? Okay, size is, well, I need this. Okay, so this is the empty list, right? And the loop starts from here for x in range. So what is the value of x right now? It is 1. So x is 1, right? Now 1 multiplied by 4 gives us 4. So this will be 4. Now multiple dot append. So you are saying add whatever value of this is into the list, right? So the first element will be 4, right? What is the next value? The present value is now 2 because the loop has ended and the current value is 2, right? So x is 2, right? So 2 multiplied by 4 gives us 8. And you again say multiple dot append. So again add 2 to the list. So you add it again to the list, right? And you get 2. So that's how it works. So this is one way, but it is, sometimes not that good. And there is another way, okay? There is another way. So let's say we can directly do this without using any for loop. So we can define a list, okay, multiples. We have a list, and we can say for inside directly inside this list, we can say for x in range 1 to 11, and in the left side of the loop you can say x multiplied by 4. See, we still have our values. So what is happening here? What is happening here? I say this is a loop for x in range 1 to 11. So that means it will, the x will continue to move from 1 to 11. So the x will change from 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. all up to 10, right? But for every x, I multiply the value of x with 4 and store it in the variable. So whatever I want to store in the variable in the list, I have to write this on the left hand side. So this is the for loop I am executing, and this is the thing I am storing in the list. This is the thing I am storing inside the list, right? So for every value of x, I am storing x multiplied by 4 in the list. So as you can see, I had to write these many lines. So 1, 2, 3. But in this, I just wrote only a one line, and it just happened. That, that's the magic of list comprehensions. List comprehensions can be very helpful for these purposes, right? Now, what if you want to store multiple values? I mean to say that multiples you want to store like these. So you have a list, right? And inside the list you have another list which contains the multiples of 1, 1 ones are 1, 1 twos are 2, 1 threes are 3, 1 fours are 4, 1 fives are 5, dot dot dot. Okay, it will continue. And then you have another list which is another element of the above list, contains 2, then 4, 2 twos are 4, 2 threes are 6, 2 fours are 8, and this will continue. And then another list which will have 3, 3 to the 6, 9, 12. Okay, dot dot dot. This will continue. So up to, you know 10, 10, 20, 30, dot dot dot. So you want to do things like these using, loops. It will become, it may think, you may think that it will become easy, but it is actually not. You will have to write more lines of code. So let's see this in action. Let's use the loops first. So I have again multiples. I make it empty, right? So now I say for x in range, I need a nested loop. 11 for y in range, 11, right? Just hold on. So we need a list of values inside the list of values. So we need another temporary list. Okay, and we need a list called, let's say, inner multiples. Okay, we have another empty list, and we will understand this code inside Paint in a better way. But first, let's execute this. In range 1 to 11. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, I need to write this again. Damn. Inner multiples for y in range 1 to 11. Inner multiples dot append, and we add the value x multiplied by y. And don't worry, I'm gonna show this in a great detail. And finally you say multiples dot append inner multiples, right? That's it. See, you have it. In the first list you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In the second list you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Then you have 3, 6, 9 up to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 90, 100. Okay, so now let's see what this code actually does. Okay, let's copy this. Let's have a Paint open. Control Z Z Z Z Z. Okay, for x in range. Okay, let's write this. Okay. Damn. Just remove this. Nice. Now let's understand what's happening. So let's take the brush. Okay, so we have our empty list called multiple. Okay, this is the list. This is where we will store all the things, right? Now there is a loop for x in range 1 to 11. That means x will execute from 1 to 10, right? 1 to 10. Okay, inside this loop we have declared another list called inner multiples. We have another list called inner multiples. Okay, it is also empty list. Now why did I declare this here? You will soon understand. For y, okay, we start another loop, right? So this loop is for y in range 1 to 11. That means y will execute 1 to 10, right? Now what happens is this. Okay, so we start another loop for y in range 1 to 11. Now inside this loop we have this method inner multiples. That means this list over here, this one dot append. That means we are adding to it x multiplied by y. So what is the value of x right now? It is 1. What is the value of y right now? It is again 1, right? So that means 1 multiplied by 1, it gives us 1. So we have 1 in the list, right? We have 1 in the list. Okay, now we are still inside this loop. Okay, this is a different loop, remember this is a different loop. This is a nested loop. That means loop inside loop. So now what is the value of y now? It is 2, right? What is the value of x right now? It is still 1 because we haven't exited from this loop. We are still inside this loop. Okay, this is the outer loop, this is the inner loop, and we are inside inner loop right now. So now the value of y is 2. So 1 multiplied by 2 gives us 2. What is the value of y right now? Y has increased, so the value of y is 3 now. So 3 multiplied by 1, because the value of x is still 1, right? It's 3, right? I'm sorry for my handwriting. Then it will be 4, then it will be 5, and it will continue till 10, right? It will continue till 10. Now once it finishes 10, that means this won't execute anymore because the condition has fulfilled, right? Now it will execute, it will exit this loop, and once this loop executes, the outer loop will continue, and in the outer loop there is this statement multiples dot append. That means it is this list multiple. Okay, there should be a s in this. Okay, add a s here. Okay. So multiples dot append, that means add in this list inner multiples, right? So the value of inner multiples is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Now this is already a list. Now add this list to this list. So this is the first element of the list. That means 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 is a single list. Okay, it is a single list, and this list is inside the bigger list. So this is the first element. That means this is the 0 index element, right? What is the next element? Now since I have finished the outer loop, the value of x increases. The value of x increases. Okay, so let's remove all these things. Okay, so the value of x increases, and now it is 2. Now it is 2. Now again, inner multiples is a empty list, because for every time this finishes, this loop finishes, it will again start, right? Once this finishes, this will again start, right, from here. Now once it again starts, the inner multiple list will be cleared, because we say inner multiples is a new list, it is an empty list. So again inner multiples will be empty. Again we enter this loop for y in range 1 to 11. Now the value of y continues from 1 to 11, 10. So the present value is 1, and the present value of x is 2. So that means 2 multiplied by 1 gives us 2. So the value of inner list is 2. That means inner multiples is 2. What is the next element? So the value of x is still 2, because we are inside the inner loop, and the value of y is now 2. So 2 multiplied by 2 gives us 4. Now the value of y is 3. 3 multiplied by 2 gives us 6. Then it gives us 8. Okay, then it gives us 10. And like this is continues till 20. Okay, this will continue till 20. So this itself is a list, right? This itself is a list. Okay, so this is a list. Now it will execute, it will exit, because the condition has been satisfied. Because 10 multiplied by 2, once the y reaches 10, once the value of y is 10, it satisfies this condition. So again we exit from this loop and we continue the outer loop, that is this loop. We continue this one. So the last statement of this loop is multiples dot append inner multiples. That means inside this list add this list, and this list is the second element, because the value of x is 2. Now the value of x is 3. Okay, the value of x is 3. Now let's remove all these empty lines. Okay, now the value of x is 3. Okay, what is the inner multiple? Inner multiple is again an empty list. It does not contain any value. It is again an empty list, because this is the fresh list. We again declare inner multiples as a fresh list, so there is no value inside it. For every time we execute this list, inner multiples will be an empty list. Now we enter the inner loop. Y again executes from 1 to 10. So since 1 is y's value is 1 right now, so 1 multiplied by 3, because the value of x is 3, it gives us 3. So 3 is the first element in the inner multiples list. The next element is 2. Y is 2, so 2 multiplied by 3 gives us 6. X will remain the same, y changes, and the value of y is 3. So 3 multiplied by 3 gives us 9, and this will again continue till 30. This will continue till 30, and this itself is a list. Okay, this itself is a list. Now once the condition satisfies, because once y becomes 10, condition satisfied, then it exits from this loop and it continues the outer loop, which says multiples dot append inner multiples. So we add this list as the third element of this list. So this is the way x continues to increase till 10. Once it reaches 10, what happens? Let's see. Finally, the final value of x will be 10. This is the last time it will execute. Now inner multiples again an empty list, right? For y, the inner loop starts. So for y in range 1 to 11, y again executes from 1 to 10. That means the current value of y is 1. So inside this loop it says inner multiples dot append. That means this list dot append, that means add elements to this list, x multiplied by y. That means the value of y is 1 and the value of x is 10. That means 10 multiplied by 1 gives us 10. Now x remains the same. Okay, now we have completed the inner loop. Inner multiples dot append x multiplied by y. We have finished this. Now we exit from this loop. And we again enter this loop because it is not been finished. Now the value of y is 2, but x always remains the same because we are still inside the inner loop. Okay, so no change in the outer values, only for inner values will change. So what is the value of y right now? It is 2, right? It is 2, but the value of x is 10, so 2 multiplied by 10 gives us 20. So this is the second element, and we append it. Okay, so after appending, that means we insert 20 into the list. We again exit from the loop and we again enter into this loop. So the value of y is 3 right now. Okay, now the value of x is 10, so 10 multiplied by 3 gives us 30. So inner multiples dot append x multiplied by y. So x multiplied by y means 10. Oops. So 10 multiplied by 3 gives us 30. Okay, now add this to this list. So the third element is 30, right? And this will continue to 100. Why 100? Why 100? Because the value of x remains 10, but the value of y continues till it becomes 10. Okay, the maximum value of y will be 10. So once it becomes 10, inner multiples dot append x multiplied by y. So 10 multiplied by 10 gives us 100, which we append to the list. I mean the inner multiples list, this list. Okay, and final, these are all the values of the inner list. Once we complete the inner loop, that is this one, this particular section, once we complete, we exit from the loop and we execute the outer loop's last statement, which is multiples dot append inner multiples, right? That means we add this inner multiples list to the multiples list, and this is the last element of the outer list, so that's how it works. Now this is a quite lengthy process. What if I say, you know I have a variable called multiples. I say I need x to the x multiplied by y. Okay, leave this. Just say for x in range 1 to 11. This is the outer loop, and this is the inner loop for y in range 1 to 11. And I say x multiplied by y. Okay, so see what happens if I do this. So again we have all the elements, although not in list format, but we have all the elements, right? Starting from 1 to 100. This is the last element of the list. But let's say you want to get same value. Okay, you just want the same format, that is list inside this list. There are 10 lists inside the outer list, so you want to make this format. So you can do this using for, let's say, n in range 1 to 11, obviously, and then there is a list. This is again, but in this time, this thing, remember this thing, I will convert this whole thing, this thing, into a single statement. Want to see how? Okay, so inner multiples. Okay, inner multiples. Okay, before that, just let's declare another variable called multiples. Okay, so you have it now. For n in range 1 to 11, we have inner multiples. Now let's convert these into a single line. N multiplied by x for x in range 1 to 11, right? Now multiples dot append inner multiples, and we finish our job right here. Now if I say multiples, see, we have the same format. So how did I do this? This is the thing what I want to store inside list comprehension, the list. Okay, this is what I want to store inside the list, n multiplied by x, and this is the loop. Okay, now the loop executes for x in range 1 to 11. That means the first value for x is 1. So 1 multiplied by the value of n, which is again 1. So it gives us 1. But since it continues, so the value increases of x. So now the current value of x is 2. 2 multiplied by 1 again. It gives us 2. Then again x increases and it's now 3. So 3 multiplied by, again this is the same. So 3 ones are 3. And it continues till 10. So 10 ones are 10. Okay, so it finishes. Now multiples dot append inner multiples. That means add inner multiples. That means this list in here. Okay, once it happens, this again executes, but this time the value of n is 2, because in the second time it has increased. Now the value of n is 2. Now here it is always 2, and it keeps on increasing. The value of x is increasing, but n is always 2 for this loop. Okay, so x is 1, it gives us 2. X is 2, it gives us 4. X is 3, it gives us 6. Okay, because for x in range 1 to 11, the loop keeps on increasing and the value of x changes. And what do we store? We store n multiplied by x, which is 2, multiplied by the value of x, which is always increasing in the loop. Okay, for every loop it is this expression. So for x in range 1 to 11, we store the first value is 1. So 1 multiplied by 3, it's oh sorry, it was 2 or 3. Okay, it was 2, yeah. So 1 multiplied by 2 gives us 2. Then it becomes 2. 2 multiplied by 2 gives us 4. Then it becomes 3. 3 multiplied by 3, 2 gives us 6. It becomes 4. 4 multiplied by 2 gives us 8. So it continues. Okay, and then again once it finishes, that means once the value is 20, because this always remains 2 and the value of x increases till 10. So 10 multiplied by 2 gives us 20. So once this list is finished, multiples dot append inner multiples. That means again add this thing to this list, to this one. Okay, so that's how it works, and this continues. This loop, this outer loop continues till it becomes 10. The value of n once become 10, it stops, and that's how we get this. Now one interesting thing, let's say you want to store all the even numbers. So what can we do? Let's say we have a number even, we have a list called even. We have an empty list for x in range, and you have 1 to 111, or let's say 101, and you store even dot append, and you say even dot append, say okay, just give a condition here. If x mod 2 equal 0, then even dot append x. Okay, so even is now okay. So it contains all the even numbers from 1 to 100. Okay, so what did we do for x in range 1 to 101? That means x will continue from 1 to 100, and there is a condition. If x mod 2, that means if x when x is divided by 2 and it gives 0 as a remainder, that means it is an even number. And when it is even number, add that particular number only after only this succeeds. Add that number to this list. I hope you guys know why x mod 2, because whenever 2 divides a number with a remainder 0, it is even number. So even dot append means add that number which is even to this list. So this happens. But we can just remove all this. In fact, we can remove all these 4 lines, and I can write this in a single line. So I can say even, and I can use list comprehensions. I want to store x. Okay, this is the thing I want to store. What is the loop here for x? Okay, just copy this, control C, give control V. Do not give the colon here, remember this. Give the, okay, again copy this. Never ever give the colon. Okay, so what this means is I want to store x for every value of x if x mod 2 equal to 0. So we can add a condition at the end, right? So this is the condition, and only if this satisfies we can add x to it. Okay, so there is a loop where x will continue from 1 to 100, and for every value we check if x mod 2 equal to 0. That means only and if only if the value of x is even, we add it to the list. And the first thing we write inside a list computation is what we want to store inside a list. Okay, so this is what we want to store, x, but only and if only if this condition satisfies. So that's it. Even we get same thing. So these 4 lines, it was single line. That's the power of list comprehensions. Okay, now when should you use list comprehensions? Well, when you want to add things into the list. Okay, you want to add things into the list, but let's have a list which is you have a, okay, let's say you want to do the same thing for x in range 1 to 10. Okay, 11. If x mod 2 equal 0, print is even. 2 is even, 4 is even, 6 is even, 8 is even, 10 is even. So you want to display, okay, you want to display the things, or you want to do something else. Okay, in this case do not use list comprehensions, because you do not want to add things to the list, right? Whenever you want to add things to the list, just see if you can convert it into list comprehensions, because that will make your code look more cleaner. But on the other hand, if the thing is very complex and the final operation is not to add things in the list, then you do not need to use list comprehensions. Okay, then it is not recommended. But when you want to store things inside list, that is like this, you are appending, right? Even dot append, because you are adding things into the list. Whenever you do things like these, try to use list comprehensions for reducing the number of lines of codes. But whenever you are doing complex things like this, or maybe let's say you want to add things but it is very complex, okay, then you can avoid using this, because if you use this, if you use these list comprehensions more often, and for complex things it will make your code look untidy, but for simple things it will make your look it will make your code look cleaner. So I hope you guys understood what all the things these are. Let's open the camera, let's close the session. Phew, it was really long. Okay, I know it is long. Let me see how much time I have talked. Damn, it's 41 minutes, so the video is obviously going to be long. I'm sorry. And the next video will be on tuples. And let's see what else I can cover, but the next video will be on tuples. Okay. And I end this video because this is already very long and I don't want to extend this video much more. Okay. Else you guys will feel demotivated. So till then, goodbye. Namaste. Let's close the session here. Bye.